Hello, welcome back. If you watched my previous videos, you know that Johnny Depp is being sued by Rocky Brooks, a location manager, on the set of City of Lies. I've already did a video about what both sides have alleged has happened, whether it's from Johnny Depp's side, Rocky Brooks' side, and then there was a witness as well. However, if you want to listen to the whole deposition, we got the transcripts right here. I'd be happy to read them out to you. This is one of those videos where you just play it in the background and, do some work or something, do some chores, do some cleaning, do some cooking. But I'm going to read this entire 117-page deposition. I know 117-page sounds kind of long, but I went through this pretty quickly. Although I guess you kind of do read a lot faster in your head. Quick recommendations: if I'm reading too fast, just use that speed, slow it down. If I'm reading too slow, speed it up by 1.5. Although if you can listen to me at 2 times speed, I would be very impressed. I'll try to read on like a normal speed. So we have a videotape deposition of Rocky Brooks. However, we don't have access to the videotape. This is just a transcript. And the transcript is not gonna transcribe the entire video in full because there are some parts that they take out. There are some missing pages in that, but I think it's just because, maybe those pages aren't relevant. Video deposition of Rocky Brooks, September 13, 2019, 10:41 a.m. So around this time, the incident happened on 2017 of, I believe it was it May? May. So this is about a year and a half later. And on the behalf of the plaintiff, so these are the lawyers for Mr. Rocky Brooks, Arabella Azizian and Tamara G. Armanock. And then for Johnny Depp, we have Brown Rudnick, which you're familiar with the name if you watched the defamation trial. Randall A. Smith is going to be the lawyer present on behalf of Johnny Depp. Examination by Mr. Smith. So Mr. Smith is the lawyer that works for Brown Rudnick, and that is Johnny Depp's lawyer. You'll have a chance to review it and sign it and either make changes to it if you think you're either testified incorrectly at the time or if you think the reporter took down what you said incorrectly. You should know, though, if you do make changes to the transcript, that at the trial of this case or before the trial, if we're in court with the motion proceedings, that I or other lawyers on behalf of Mr. Depp could comment to the court or the jury that you told me one thing today and then went back later and changed it. That might reflect poorly on your credibility. Do you understand that? Rocky, yes? Would that help? Lawyer, yes. Rocky, yes. Maybe I'll just do that then. It might be easier for you. So, Rocky, yes. Lawyer. Now, are you on any medication this morning that would affect your ability to understand my questions or give me coherent answers? Rocky, no. Lawyer, normally I ask, and I'll go ahead and ask it now so we can discuss this. Is there any reason your deposition can't proceed today? Rocky, well, like I stated earlier, that I'm in a lot of pain from neck injuries and I'm having recurring symptoms. And, so I'm in a little bit of pain and I haven't been sleeping well, but I didn't take any pain medication, so I could be clear-headed today. Ooh, oh, so clear. You put on my glasses. Lawyer, perfect. Let me follow up a bit on that so we can hopefully come up with a game plan of how to approach this. As I told you off the record in your counsel, I don't want to put you through something that you are physically unable to do, whether it's going to be putting you in an extreme amount of pain and then somehow possibly impacting your testimony today. Rocky, correct. Lawyer, so if you hit a point today where you think you can't continue anymore because of your pain, will you tell me that? Rocky, I will. Lawyer, if you need to take a break at any point, and we've discussed off the record that you probably will need to take some breaks to walk around, well, you tell me when you need a break. Rocky, absolutely, definitely. This is me, my notes right here. Dude, if you guys have back pain, neck pain, any type of pain, get up as often as you can, take breaks. Like if you're a streamer and you have like neck issues and stuff, drink a lot of water so you can get up and use the bathroom, and you just need to get up and change your position that you're in. It'll definitely help a lot. Okay, going back into the transcript. Lawyer, and we talked off the record about how long this might take. And I think you told me up front that if this is going to be a whole day, you wouldn't be able to make that, correct? Rocky, that's more than likely correct. Lawyer, okay. Rocky, yeah. Lawyer, and these symptoms, the pain you described for me, is attributable to spinal condition. Is that right? Rocky, cervical and spinal. Lawyer, can you give me a little bit more detail what the cervical and spinal issues are that you have? Rocky, I've had cervical lumpectomy in 2015 where the nerve canal was narrowed to the point where my feeling in my body was shut off. They had to shave down the bone so it could have a place to go, and that was somewhat successful. A year later, I had recurring symptoms and they put me in 2 titanium discs at the front of my neck. And I'd recovered very well from that, and then I was back at work. And recently, I've been having recurring symptoms. Lawyer, okay. Rocky, so I'm scheduled to the 20th to see my surgeon as a follow-up. I have to go to an MRI, another MRI taken to my spine this week. It was supposed to be yesterday, but it was canceled. Lawyer, that's on September 20th? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and the titanium disc you have put into your neck, that was in 2016? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, okay. Rocky, that was August. Lawyer, and you said that after the titanium disc, you're feeling better for an extended period of time. Rocky, recovered nicely and well. Lawyer, okay. And when did the symptoms start to return? Rocky, roughly a month to 6 weeks ago. The reporter, so there's a reporter in the room, remember guys. Can I just ask you to speak a little bit more for me? Rocky, yes, sorry. Lawyer, do you have any idea what was there any sort of incident or accident that happened that would lead to recurring symptoms? Rocky, getting up, stepping out of bed, who knows? Lawyer, now maybe I can fast forward on some of this. You giving me this lawsuit, as you know, relates to an incident that occurred in April of 2017 on a movie set involving yourself and Johnny Depp, correct? Rocky, that's correct. Lawyer, and you've given sworn discovery responses in this case indicating you don't attribute any physical injuries to that incident with Mr. Depp in April of 2017. Are you aware that you've given those answers? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and is it fair to say that you don't attribute to any of your current physical conditions to anything that's happened between you and Mr. Depp? Rocky, that's correct. Lawyer, okay. Let me shift gears then. I will remind you if at any point you need to take a break or we're getting too far down the road, tell me. Rocky, no audible response. Lawyer, have you done anything to prepare yourself for the deposition today? Rocky, I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Lawyer, okay. For example, have you reviewed any documents to get yourself back up to, and it cuts off right here. Rocky, so ask the question again, please. Lawyer, do you know one way or the other whether any person ever actually told Mr. Bertolino that Mr. Depp was the one that was the source of blackballing? Rocky, I'm unsure. Lawyer, now in this action, you sued Brad Furman, correct? Rocky, By the way, guys, Brad Furman is the director, and blackballing is I think it's similar to, same thing as blacklisting, meaning someone puts you on a blacklist and makes you unhireable. Rocky, Lawyer, is that a yes? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and who is Mr. Furman? Rocky, Mr. Furman is the director of the movie. Lawyer, and you also sued Miriam Siegel, is that correct? Rocky, she is a producer of the movie. Lawyer, and you did sue her, correct? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and you eventually dismissed the claims against Mr. Siegel or Miss Siegel and Mr. Furman, correct? Rocky, correct. Lawyer, to the extent that you have been put on a no-hire list, is it possible that Mr. Furman might have some involvement in your appearing on a no-hire list? Rocky, it's possible. Lawyer, and to the extent you have actually been on some sort of no-hire list, is it possible that Ms. Siegel might be responsible for you being on that no-hire list? Ms. Azizian, this is a lawyer for Rocky. Objection, calls for speculation. Rocky, it's possible. Lawyer, as you sit here today, do you have any knowledge yourself that would enable you to identify the actual source of blackballing in terms of who the person was that did it if it happened? Rocky, my best guess would be something to do with Mr. Depp, Depp's people, and his influence over Hollywood. Lawyer, I'll move to strike that as non-responsive. Let me clarify. I don't want to be rude by doing that. The witness, which is Rocky, I understand. Lawyer, but this is the process, and later on we may be talking with the judge about whether answers are proper or not, and I have to protect my record on that. Rocky, I understand. Lawyer, okay, and I'll just re-ask the question. Lawyer, I don't want you to guess, and you preface what you said by your best guess. Rocky, Lawyer, so would you agree with me that other than guessing or speculating, you personally can't offer any testimony one way or the other as to the actual source of any blackballing in terms of who the person was? Rocky, that's correct. Lawyer, okay. Rocky, I'm sorry, can I stand up for a second? Lawyer, sure. Lawyer, let's go off the record. The videographer, video deposition off the record at 11:05 a.m. Okay, I just had lunch. I ate my lip balm, but it's okay. I'm too lazy to put it on now. Well, maybe I'll put some alcohol. My lips are so dry. There's your bash, by the way. The videographer, video deposition returning the record at 11:07 a.m. Lawyer, okay. Lawyer, and that Good Films Production, Inc., that's a reference to the Labyrinth film that you worked on, correct? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and that's the film where the incident between yourself and Mr. Depp occurred, correct? Rocky, yes, correct. Now called City of Lies, yes. Lawyer, and so your work history shows that for several months after it, you went through October working on other productions on a fairly regular basis, correct? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and would you agree with me that none of the injuries that you attribute to the incident with Mr. Depp in any way prevented you from working in your chosen field, at least through October 8th, 2017. Rocky, when you say injuries, does that have anything to do with the incident? Lawyer, yes. Rocky, okay, then yes. Lawyer, okay. So, and tell me in that period between June 18th, 2017 and October 8th, 2017, when you had these jobs here that came after the Labyrinth film. Rocky, yeah, what would you like to know? Lawyer, well, my question simply is, and I need to find out from you, but your assumption having looked at your work history here was that for many months after the incident, you had no difficulty obtaining or doing any work in your chosen field, correct? Rocky, it wasn't as easy as it used to be, but correct. Lawyer, and when you say it wasn't as easy as it used to be, what do you mean by that? Rocky, well, there were people questioning me about the incident. Lawyer, okay, and who were those people? Rocky, producers and stuff. Lawyer, okay. Putting aside, and I want to make a distinction here, so putting aside any negative ramifications that you might think other people in the industry might have had because you were involved with the incident. Rocky, Lawyer, so set that aside. Rocky, right? Lawyer, I want to focus only on your physical or emotional trauma that you suffered from the incident. Was there anything about your physical or emotional trauma from the incident that impaired your ability to work at least through October of 2017? Rocky, not really, no. Lawyer, okay. So, and we'll get into the other issues, but in terms of your physical and mental condition, you'd agree with me that you are perfectly capable of working after the Labyrinth incident. Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and would you also agree that any impairment of your ability to work in a later period has to do with the belief that you've been blackballed? Is that correct? Rocky, correct. Lawyer, would you also agree with me that any impairment of your ability to work in the period after Labyrinth has nothing to do with any physical or emotional trauma you claim to have suffered? Rocky, can you repeat the question, please? Lawyer, sure. I just want to understand the lay of the land in your point of view. Rocky, right. Lawyer, would you agree with me that no physical or emotional trauma that you attribute to the incident has impaired your ability to work since the incident occurred? Rocky, I would disagree. I would say emotional trauma is certainly rising its ugly head. Lawyer, okay. And when did emotional trauma begin to have an impact on your ability to work? Rocky, I would say after filing suit, the story coming out in the news, and then false stories coming out afterwards in the news really took a hit on my emotional stability. Lawyer, okay. Would you agree with me that through the filing of your complaint, that through the point of time, your physical and emotional state had no... Let me start over. Focusing on the period of time between the incident on Labyrinth in 2017 of April and the date you filed your complaint, and I can represent to you that was July 6th of 2018. Rocky, right. Lawyer, would you agree with me that between April 2017 and July 2018, no physical or emotional trauma that you attributed to the incident impacted your ability to work? Rocky, I would agree with the physical part, but the mental part is having to do with people questioning me about the incident all the time, and it comes a little bit overburdening, or you know, it's a drag on you after a while. So, but yeah, I kept moving on and shrugging shoulders, just another lawyer. But stop me if I'm wrong, I want to clarify this. I think what you told me was a questioning that led to your emotional concerns. That questioning really started after you filed your complaint. Correct. Rocky, that's when the volcano erupted, but before that, it's always been a constant. Lawyer, okay. So before you filed your complaint from time to time, people would ask about the incident when you were seeking employment? Rocky, everybody would ask about it when they heard who I was. Lawyer, okay. Rocky, or found out who I was, or found out about the story. Everybody, there's no escaping it. Lawyer, and that caused you to have anxiety? Rocky, absolutely. I think I might skip another couple pages again. Oh no, same page. Okay, 35 to 36. Lawyer, what's the first time you recall in your own mind's eye when any other person raised this incident as it related to your reference to find employment? Rocky, after filing suit. That's interesting. Lawyer, okay. Ms. Azizian. This is the lawyer for Rocky. For clarification, that was for employment. It was raised with a relation to employment, correct? Lawyer, can you read back my last question and his answer? The reporter, what's the first time you can recall in your own mind's eye when any other person raised this incident as related to the reference to find employment? After filing suit. Ms. Azizian, which is Rocky's lawyer. Thank you. Lawyer, and that would have been after the complaint was filed. Rocky, yes. Lawyer, tell me, how you wound up getting in the position on the Labyrinth? Rocky, I was on the availability list. Labyrinth had completed their principal photography, but had gone over schedule, and they had lost their actor's set, so they had just walked away and they were paying for it as we were shut down. So I had to keep, make sure everything was going smoothly with the Barclay Hotel, and then also deal with our new locations, the Peterson Museum, where it shut down Fairfax and Wilshire Boulevard for the reenactment of the Biggie Small murder. We shot at the El Rey Theater, various locations. It is my responsibility to procure them, do the contracts, the insurance, all the hiring of security and fire and police. That's my job. Lawyer, So you get your response for securing the location from soups to nuts. What does that mean? Rocky, from soup to nuts. Lawyer, who was your employer on the Labyrinth production if you know? Rocky, what do you mean by employer? Lawyer, who wrote your checks? Rocky, Good Film Productions. Lawyer, and you were working on an independent contractor basis on behalf of Good Film Productions? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, so Good Film Productions didn't, for example, provide you with health benefits, correct? Rocky, no, I work for health benefits through the union and you need to have a certain amount of hours to accrue them. Lawyer, okay, so employer type benefits in your line of work is something that you get through your union, correct? Rocky, uh-huh. Lawyer, is that a yes? Rocky, yes, sorry. Lawyer, and your contract then with Good Film was essentially on an independent contractor basis, correct? Rocky, correct. Lawyer, and who did you report to? Well, who did you report to on the Labyrinth matter? Rocky, the head of me is Bruce Wayne Gillies, unintelligible. The reporter, I'm sorry, what producer? Rocky, Bruce Wayne Gillies. The reporter, what did you say after that? Rocky, he was the line of producer that hired me. Lawyer, line like line down the street? Rocky, yes. Okay, this is from a different page. So I don't know who's saying this one, but I'm assuming maybe it's Rocky. I may have walked over and told Miriam myself. I don't recall. You just let everyone know you got the extension. So, lawyer, was Ms. Siegel difficult to work with? Rocky, extremely. Again, Ms. Siegel is Miriam Siegel. She was a producer and she's the founder of Good Films Production. Rocky, extremely. Lawyer, and give me a little bit of overview on that. Why do you say she's extremely difficult to work with? Rocky, just bully. She's a bully and didn't really listen to reason. And when I took over the job, I was warned by the previous location department and most department heads on that show, that this is a different kind of movie and that it's really toxic. Lawyer, okay. And did anyone elaborate on what they meant by it's really toxic? Rocky, they elaborated by the triangle relationship of Johnny, Miriam, and Brad. Lawyer, and what do you mean by the triangle relationship between the three of them? Rocky, the three of them as director, producer, A-list actor, and the star of the movie. Lawyer, and so people who are working on that production told you that the three-way combination was not healthy? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, that it was a three-way combination that was a difficult work environment? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, did you share those views once you began working the project? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, was Mr. Furman also difficult to work with? Rocky, extremely. Lawyer, and what about Mr. Furman was difficult to work with? Rocky, again, just combative, doesn't really listen to reason, only wanted his way, did things didn't really make sense, wasted a lot of time. Lawyer, and what do you mean he wasted a lot of time? Rocky, indecisions, just unprofessionalism, sorry, okay. Lawyer, all right. Rocky, yeah. Lawyer, so give me your recollection. Once you communicated to Mr. Gillies that you got in the extensions at 11 o'clock and midnight for the inside shoot, what do you recall happening that day? Rocky, the day went on as usual. We did our filming, everything was as usual. The usual hectic film set, trying to get everything done with a timeline. It's nothing unusual. Lawyer, and was, from your observation, were things going along business as usual, right up to the point where you had an encounter with Mr. Depp? Rocky, somewhat, yes. Lawyer, and? Rocky, by usual, as usual. Lawyer, by somewhat, I take that as a qualification. What was not business as usual prior to the incident with Mr. Depp? Rocky, just movie production nonsense, that's all. It's no specific thing. It's just all the ins and outs, minutia of, can we just get through the day and all the crazy that surrounds it? I couldn't give you anything specific. Lawyer, would you agree the day was getting tense all the way around because of the impending deadline? Rocky, yes, it's the last day of filming. Lawyer, so would you agree that Miss Siegel and Mr. Fern are particularly difficult to work with that day? Rocky, most likely. Lawyer, would you agree that Mr. Depp was under time constraint that day as a co-producer? Rocky, absolutely. Lawyer, would you agree that the general feeling on the set before the incident was somewhat tense? Rocky, it was every day. Lawyer, was it more tense that day? Rocky, it's hard to say. Lawyer, okay, do you recall if you had any interaction with the people besides Mr. Depp right before the incident that you would characterize as any way tense? Rocky, yes. Lawyer, and tell me what such interactions you had before the incident. Rocky, there was an incident with a security guard for Gilmore Associates. Lawyer, okay, tell me what you recall about the interaction between yourself and the security guard. Rocky, well, the production with Richard Wynn and Gilmore Associates are that Gilmore Associates own all the filming properties around the area that we were filming, and they like to extort money from productions who are silly enough to pay them for no reason. And our movie was over budget, over deadline. They were trying to extort money from our production, and it's my job as location manager to make sure that doesn't happen. And so when they tried to extort money unsuccessfully from the production, Richard Wynn, who was in charge of filming at Gilmore Associates, sent his security guard out on the streets to take a videotape. Lawyer, how do you know that? Rocky, because he was. Lawyer, How do you know Mr. Wynn sent security guard to do the videotape? Rocky. Because that's what he does every time. That's his MO. He always has a security guard film other people's productions so that they have record of it, so that it's a battle of film LA. Lawyer. And when you say your perception of Gilmore Associates somehow trying to extort the production, what do you mean by that? Rocky. So they own all the properties, and in one incident, there's some lights that are from the Barclay Hotel connected to their property, and we wanted to get them turned off, and they wanted $2,500 to have them turned off. So we just said, no, we'll leave them on. Thank you. And on the other time is when we were going out on the street doing the filming with Johnny closing the street. We're in front of the Gilmore Associates old bank building, which is on 4th Street. It's an empty building. There's no business inside of it. So our filming is not impeding with their course of business or any other residences. Lawyer. And how did you observe them trying to do any type of extortion as it pertained to this bank building on that day? Rocky. Well, in order for me to get the extended hours, we have to have the Richard Wynn, who represents Gilmore Associates, sign off on anything permit-wise. And for me to get extended hours, they have to sign off on it. Lawyer. What happens if he were to refuse to sign off? Rocky. Well, it just depends. Usually people pay and he signs off. But I immediately started an email chain with Film LA and my film coordinator, and I showed them the text chain that he was trying to get $2,500 for us to film out there. And I had the backing of Film LA that you do not need to pay him anything. You're on a public sidewalk and you're not responsible for paying him anything. Lawyer. So Film LA said, don't pay him? Rocky. Correct. Lawyer. And then when that happened from there in relation to your interaction with anybody from Gilmore? Lawyer. And then what happened from there in relation to your interaction with anybody from Gilmore? Rocky. Well, I was, it's a game that we play with Richard Wynn. I got a little excited and he sent the security guard out there and I flipped him off behind my back because I was sending a little love message to Richard Wynn. It was nothing, had nothing to do with anything else. Lawyer. How, and let me back up. So Mr. Wynn, was it Mr. Wynn personally that refused to sign off from the extension? Rocky. Yeah, he didn't sign off on the extension. Lawyer. And did he communicate that directly to you? Rocky. He didn't sign off on it. I don't know who he communicated to or not. He went ahead and okay, so it cuts off right here. This is reporter certification. All right, so we're going to go to a different day now.